This meeting is being recorded.
Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Zephyr Garrison from Hungary. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Garrison Zephyr Thomas. I'm Vice President for the Budapest branch of Mihazank, as well as a member of the Youth Foreign Affairs Cabinet responsible for Sweden, Norway, and Denmark as in the United States. Thank you for having me here today.
Okay, thanks a lot for participating. And I would like to ask you a few questions about what's going on in Hungary. And I would like to start off by asking that nationalists in Europe or across Europe, we have been watching Hungary for several years. And we have often wished that we had politicians like Viktor Orban in our own countries. However, I have heard that Orban may not have been as successful as some of us initially thought. Could you tell us what Viktor Orban achieved or failed to achieve during his time as Prime Minister of Hungary from 1998 until 2002 and from 2010 until 2026?
That's an excellent question, actually, and it's a rather detailed one, so sorry if it takes me a few seconds to gather my thoughts. But generally speaking, the view I've gathered about Orban from people abroad is that he's sort of this strong figure, sort of defender of Europe type that is strict on migration, doesn't cave into European Union demands, etc. And while it is true that he was tougher on immigration and he wasn't exactly liberal in the European Union perspective, it shouldn't be this shouldn't be confused with a necessarily successful leader, in the sense that despite the immigration, he was still extremely corrupt. He effectively stagnated the economy throughout the entirety of his 15 years as our prime minister, and this has had significant impacts on Hungary's growth and development, which is significant reason to why we're sort of still struggling economically here in Hungary today, and why many people were strongly against him in this election. During this election, it wasn't necessarily just liberals that wanted to see Orban kicked out of power for his conservative rhetoric. It was people from all across Hungary that were tired of the stagnation, were tired of the corruption, were tired of the quasi-dictatorial power that he had, and wanted to see Hungary actually develop in the future. And for Hungary's development, he was not exactly ideal.
Okay. Thank you very much, Garrison. And in May 2026, Peter Magyar became Prime Minister of Hungary, and Eurocrats cheered, hoping that Magyar would follow the EU agenda rather than working against it, as Mr. Orban appeared to be doing. Is that impression of Peter Magyar correct?
It's hard to really say. Of course, it's only been 2 months into his leadership, and he said a lot. He said a lot more than he could actually deliver on during his campaign. Generally, as it seems, in my personal point of view, I think he's going to follow mostly the same agenda which the Fidesz party did, with a few specific caveats in order to appease the European Union. This being, for example, he allowed the existence of pride parades in Hungary. There was a rather large ordeal about that roughly a month ago. Generally speaking, though, I believe that he's most likely going to follow a very similar trajectory, just reformatted to make the European Union digest it easier, so to speak. But then again, it's only been 2 months, so I don't want to say anything too soon. I don't want to jump the boat, so to speak. There's a lot that's left to be seen.
Yeah, obviously it's very early into Mr. Magyar's premiership, but I would still like to ask you, what has Peter Magyar done so far in Hungary during his first 2 months in power? I have heard some disturbing news about the president of Hungary being deposed just a few days ago. Could you please comment on this?
Yes, the Súlyog Tamás situation is interesting and a little bit concerning. Effectively, for context, the president of Hungary, Súlyog Tamás, who was a appointed by the former Fidesz administration was recently asked to resign by Magyar Péter, and now Magyar Péter is currently in the process of finding a new president to appoint. He has asked already one individual, and she has refused the position, and they're currently, I guess, in the process of finding a new one. But this concerns us in the perspective that with whether Shuyan Tamás was a good person or not isn't necessarily the issue here. Our issue here is that we are concerned that there won't be anyone that can stand to oppose, or to, a better way to phrase it, to have any checks and balances on Magyar Péter's power. If he appoints anyone into being the new president, that person will owe a debt to Magyar Péter, whether they are a member of any party in the past or not. Effectively meaning that Magyar Péter, with the deposal of Súlyog Tamás, now has quasi-absolute power over the country if he manages to successfully appoint a new president, which puts us back to where we used to be with Fidesz and Orbán Viktor, where now we have, once again, a 2/3 majority with absolute control of the country and no one else to answer for but themselves, which is concerning.
Right. So let me see if I understand this correctly. The prime minister appoints the president and then parliament has to approve it or something like that?
It could work that way as well. Elections could also be taking place, but in general, the parliament has to be in agreement on it, yes.
Okay, but then normally there would be a presidential election too, or that is...
Normally, yes. In fact, our party advocates for having an election regarding this. It's unlikely our voices are going to be heard in this regard, but we're still advocating for it, as we believe that would be the most logical democratic step to take with this kind of situation. It does sound kind of concerning. I personally agree too that the prime minister can just simply grab someone, ask him to be, and then put him in.
So what kind of power does the president of Hungary hold? Is it just ceremonial, or could he or she, for instance, fire the government or something like that?
It's mostly ceremonial. He does have the ability to resign the prime minister if he sees there's a lack of confidence. But that usually requires a very unstable parliament, which we do not have with a 2/3 majority. He also runs the military in times of war, but generally it is a mostly ceremonial position. He has the requirement to sign every law that goes through, and that's mostly it.
Okay. So what political alternatives currently exist in Hungary to, well, Mr. Orban's Fidesz party and Mr. Magyar's TISA party? You have mentioned that you represent a different political party in Hungary. Could you shed some light on this topic for us?
Yes. With regards to political alternative to TISA and Fidesz, there's also my party, or not my, I'm a member of the party,
right.
Mi Hazánk. We are the 3rd largest party currently in Hungary, and we're set to effectively take over the face of the right wing and the conservatives in Hungary with the, slow but steady decline of Fidesz after the last election. But it's an interesting situation we're in right now, because effectively it's just Fidesz, TISA, and Mi Hazánk that have any significant relevance or power amongst the populace. It's not like in the past where we had large coalitions with dozens of parties in parliament. Many of those parties are currently on a trajectory to disband completely. We had parties from the liberal side. We've had parties such as DK, MSP, Momentum, things of that nature, which they're struggling to get enough votes to maintain any sort of legitimacy, and it's likely that they're going to be collapsing. There's for other former right-wing parties or right-wing parties that were formerly relevant, such as Jobbik, for instance, which also, despite running in the elections, they performed terribly and are likely to also disintegrate or hopefully, or potentially in their case, hopefully reorganize themselves. But currently, there's only 3. If there's in the future, in the upcoming elections, we might see new ones form or the old ones reorganize themselves, but currently they hold 0 sway in politics.
Right. So the party that you're a part of is named Mi Hasank. How would you briefly describe that party?
Mi Hazank in English stands for Our Home. We are a patriotic and nationalist party whose interests lies in Hungary first and foremost. We want what is best for the Hungarian people. We want what is best for the Hungarian nation. We wish to preserve the Hungarian nation, the language, the culture, the religion, and everything that makes us us. When it comes to that, we would like to put significant amount of effort into rebuilding our economy back into something that is actually capable and can benefit the Hungarian people. Effectively, we haven't had a proper economy in Hungary almost since the collapse of the Soviet Union, almost to speak. So we've been struggling significantly financially in that aspect, and that's one thing we'd like to focus on. We would also like to focus on policing and crime. There is a growing crime problem in Hungary, which we would like to address as well. There's a lot of neighborhoods and smaller communities which are becoming de facto no-go zones, which don't have the adequate policing required to handle these problems. Besides that, we want to reform the education system to make it more competitive in the modern world. We would like to focus more on technological development and advancement to benefit our industrial sectors. So these are the ways which we believe that we could benefit Hungary and make it a nice place to live again for Hungarians, so to speak.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. You mentioned you're getting no-go zones, so I'm thinking, is this caused by immigration, or is this caused by, how do I put it, groups that have lived in Hungary for a long time?
It's an excellent question. Immigration so far hasn't been a significant issue in Hungary, though we are concerned that with the TISA administration, there might be more in the future. The no-go zones in question mostly come from populations which have been in Hungary for a longer period of time that haven't successfully integrated into Hungarian society and culture. They often lack proper education, proper work, and generally good quality of life that allows them to do other than crime, so to speak. So these are the issues in question. With regards to migration, while there have been some migrants that have been entering in over the last few years, as it should be noted that despite Orban's reputation, he did allow migrants with a work visa into the country. So we did have a large influx of them, especially from Pakistan and India and Southeast Asia and the like. They have not been in such a large quantity yet as to make any problems.
Okay. Is there any significant difference between the Fidesz party and the TISA party?
That's the funny thing. I don't see any significant difference, so to speak. Most of what they've been doing has been very superficial. They bark a lot more than they bite, if I could use that term. What they claim to do with regards to opening up Hungary, making it more democratic, tackling the corruption issue, making Hungary more friendly to Europe. They make all those claims, and that's what they say they want to do. I haven't seen any action regarding that whatsoever so far. In fact, when it comes to democracy, we just recently saw a opposite of what they've been claiming to do. So once again, since they're only 2 months in, time will tell. But so far, it's mostly just talk. When it comes to how they actually operate, I think it's almost exactly the same.
Right. What are your motivations and goals in being involved in Hungarian politics?
My personal motivations.
Yeah, your personal and political motivations.
My main goal, and this might sound a little bit cheesy, but my main goal is to actually to help my nation. I love my nation. I'm very proud of coming from Hungary. I really love this country, and I see a lot of potential in it. It's just that I've seen that historically we've always been mistreated. We've always had or often had poor leadership, often been put between a rock and a hard place. And I think if our country is given an opportunity to, we can really make something great out of it. And I want to live in a country like that. So that's why I got into politics, because I view that as the most logical and direct way to improve the quality of my nation. And I hope that I can meaningfully impact on that, but time will tell.
Yeah, I hope so too. If you just look at European map or open a history book, you will find out that Hungary ended up sort of in the crossroads between different empires.
Yeah.
Well, both the Austrian-Hungarian Empire, but then later you ended up sort of between the West and the East.
Yes, yes. We've always been a sort of a strong fighter punching way out of its weight class in this sense. And we've done well several times historically, but often we've had significant hardships as well due to this fact that we've always been caught between much larger entities, and we've always been in the direct crossroads of it.
Right. In Western Europe, we are seeing a clear nationalist trend among young men at the moment. What is the situation in Hungary?
With regards to the rise of nationalism?
Yeah, for instance, or the political trends among young men and young people.
I think that carries on to Hungary as well. I think, generally speaking, the youth of Hungary has become significantly more nationalistic and right-wing as well, which is pleasant to see. With regards to, again, the whole TISA situation, I don't think that was necessarily impacted too much, as TISA also presented itself as a conservative and right-wing party. So a lot of people that were conservative and right-wing also voted for them as well. But generally speaking, yes, I think nationalism, conservatism, and right-wing values are on the rise here in Hungary as well, same as the rest of Europe.
Okay, great. Would you like to add any final words to this conversation?
None in particular. Though if I could think of anything, I would say that despite the reputation which Fidesz might have had in the past in Western Europe, I think it is important to factor in the failures of the Fidesz regime as well. And I would urge all the viewers watching to consider Mi Hazánk as a more successful alternative, one that will not betray their voters, one that won't have any corruption allegations, that won't be misfunding money, and will focus solely on the benefit of the Hungarian people above all else.
Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me and for explaining the situation in Hungary to me and my viewers. I'm sure it will be much appreciated. So thank you once again. And I hope that despite what might be going on right now, that we will see positive developments in both Hungary and Sweden.
I hope so as well.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you as well.